Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So today on my channel we are going to be doing a birth story time. So I know that I always do story times or I always do life updates and blah blah blah, but I am going to do a story time because I don't feel like I did a great job at vlogging the day of my labor and delivery. So my whole vlog doesn't really explain why I went into labor at 37 weeks. I put it on the title and like I try to put it in there, but it doesn't really like explain everything that happened, and a lot more happened than just the preeclampsia and whatever. So we're just gonna go ahead and get right into it. I have my handy dandy partner right here with me while I record this video for you guys, so don't mind me if I do a little mommy talk in between or if I get distracted and I keep looking over there, because as long as he thinks I'm talking to him, then we're good. Then that means I can keep filming. So I'm just gonna go ahead and show you guys real quick how I have him. Hi Babas, say hello. Say hello, my gorgeous little human being. So I have like my foot, like I could reach it. Don't mind my ratchet slippers. He is big now. He is 3 months. And I'm gonna film a postpartum video just because I feel I feel like before I film anything else I need to film my birth story so that way I can just get it out the way. So it all started on August 31st, Friday. I actually woke up like I would say like around 11 a.m. I wanted to vlog the day, so I had my camera with me, but I didn't vlog anything because I woke up, I was not having it no more. I was so pregnant that I was like, you know what, I want this baby out of me, so let's just go to this appointment and let's just see what they have to say, because it was our first 1 week follow-up appointment. Ugh. Don't tell me they're gonna start doing garden work right now. They get like right next to my window and it's so annoying. Woke up, I remember being in bed with Caesar and telling him like, oh, let's just cuddle, like I don't want to do anything, all I have to do is I have an appointment. But at that point already we were so used to getting up and going out to eat, because like I had to eat by a certain time or I would be starving. I put on my maternity jean shorts that I found at Ross, and I was so grateful for those towards the end of my trimester, because towards the end of my pregnancy, because that's all I was kind of wearing. And so I put on my jean maternity shorts and a little like very tight gray muscle shirt that wasn't even maternity, wasn't even like fitting me when I was like chubby. It was just a muscle shirt and I just threw it on, and I think you could see like the half and half of like the maternity shorts. I was already almost like pretty much 3 weeks away from my due date. I did feel done with the pregnancy. I was feeling a lot of pressure and a lot of pain down in my pelvic area, and I just kind of figured like that was normal, you know, like all that stuff was normal. So we went into the appointment and we got checked in and everything, and I looked like poop compared to all the other times I go to an appointment. Like at this point the nurse is just checking my vitals like normal, you know. So then she tells me like, we're not gonna check you today, so meaning they're not gonna check me like down there, you know, like I'm not gonna have to open my legs. So I was just like, okay, cool, like I'm not gonna get checked down there. So I told Caesar, even better, like we get to go home faster, like I didn't want to be out. So she checks my blood pressure. So when she checks my blood pressure, she tells me, oh, your blood pressure is really high. And I was just like, oh really? It's probably because I was rushing to get here, like a dumbass. Like I didn't know what blood pressure was, like, you know, rushing to get to the appointment, that I made my own blood pressure go up. And she goes, you know, let's check it again. So then she checks it again, and then she's like, oh, your blood pressure came out high again. It's lower, but it's still high. And I was like, oh, okay. It's like, when's the doctor gonna come in, blah blah. So she's like, the doctor will be in a few minutes, blah blah. So she walks out, she doesn't tell me anything. She just tells me that they're not gonna check me down there, my blood pressure's high, and that's it. I'm already like getting mad because the bed that I'm sitting on, and at that point I couldn't even sit down for long anymore because all the pressure was on my tailbone, like my pelvic area and in my tailbone, and it hurt so bad. It felt like it just freaking, it's like this pain like if I don't know how to explain it. It's like if you've just been sitting on something hard for a long time, but even a cushiony bed would make it hurt for me because it was so like already like in pain. The doctor comes in and me and Sarah are just sitting there waiting, patiently waiting, and the doctor comes in and goes, so I'm gonna send you up, like this is literally like how fast she said it. She just walked in and walked right out. She was like, So Melissa, your blood pressure is really high, so I'm gonna send you upstairs to triage to be admitted for observation. If your blood pressure comes out high again after monitoring it for 2 hours, you will be induced today, and if not, you will come back in 3 days to be induced anyways. You're showing symptoms of preeclampsia, and at 37 weeks that's very dangerous, and it could be dangerous for you and the baby. Me and Sister were just like, what? And the reason we were so shocked was because I was healthy throughout my whole pregnancy. It was just all these symptoms that led up to this, you know, whole preeclampsia diagnosis, but they missed them. And I honestly can say that it did piss me off when I found out that these were the symptoms, because I was like, I've been having these since who knows when, and they couldn't put two and two together to just be like, hey, you might have preeclampsia, like let's try it, you know. But it could just been that they were waiting for some type of protein to be in my urine. Even though she told me that I had to be admitted to triage to be observed, I was still scared because all I heard was you're gonna be induced. So the point is that she kind of just told me I was gonna get induced. She didn't tell me that there was still a chance that I wouldn't get induced until I went up to triage. The nurse took me upstairs. She was like, do you need a wheelchair? I'm like, no, I don't need a wheelchair. Like, I'm not ready to have this baby. All I could remember was like the mess that I had left in the room with my vanity, with the chair full of laundry that I never folded. I was like, there's no room. All we had, not that there's no room, there was nothing ready for him. All we had really ready for him was his clothes that was hanging up in the closet, just to want to nest and prepare. I've been in that mode, and so to not be able to go home no more, I was like, oh my god. So I couldn't even go home and come back and be observed. I had to go straight upstairs, be observed, get plugged up and everything. I literally got wired. They wired me all up and were observing me and the baby, and I just got into a gown and they made me stay in the room. And my husband was the one who was talking to everybody. I was talking to my mom, he was talking to his mom. He was just kind of like, okay, well, we're already planning if, but we were like, no, it's not gonna happen. We're okay, like we're fine. Like it's just a high blood pressure that I'm gonna calm down, and we're gonna get good results of my high blood pressure, and I'm gonna be able to go home. So technically I was only supposed to wait 2 hours. I didn't even have to wait 2 hours before the next doctor came in, who was the one in the triage department, and came and told me, so you are 37 weeks, 4 days, you're almost 38 weeks, you have protein in your urine, and in order to be diagnosed for preeclampsia, you have to have a 3.0. I had 2.99, so I was 1.1% whatever you want to call it, under the level to be considered with pregnancy with preeclampsia. And so they told me, but because you've had other symptoms like headaches, you're very swollen, high blood pressure, you've went blind pretty much for a few seconds, minutes, whatever, in your second trimester, and you gained weight rapidly, you pretty much have preeclampsia. You just don't have the protein in it to consider it official. But they were like, you're not gonna go home today, you are going to get induced. We're going to move you into your own room and you will start the process of getting induced. And I was like, so yeah, they just moved me on to the next room. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I was just like, oh my god, I just came to this appointment thinking it was like it was my first 1 week follow-up appointments. And I called my mom and everybody, and I told them like what's going on. It was me and Caesar for a little bit, so he literally was like, you could say he missed half the labor, because I didn't need him there. Like I needed him more here at the house to get things ready, so I didn't really need him there in the times that I was getting to the contractions. Like I didn't get there with contractions, I was getting induced, so then slowly the contractions would come. So yeah, so oh my god, I'm so hungry. My appointment was at 1:30. They told me at triage that I had to stay at 2:30, and they put the first pill in my cervix at 5 p.m. in the evening. And then that's when they told me, okay, so we're gonna come back and check on you in 4 hours, and in 4 hours, depending on how dilated you are or what's going on, we're gonna either give you another one, or we're gonna put you on Pitocin, I think it's called. When you're there, you're just I was so nervous, I was so anxious that my heart rate and my blood pressure were like through the roof. And all they wanted me to do was just to calm down, and I couldn't calm down. Like I was so excited, I was so nervous, I was so like, I just wanted to be home and be a control freak, and they were telling me to not worry, that they had it under control. Mind you, the Sunday before that Friday, we had went to IKEA and shopped for new furniture. So we bought a queen size bed, a dresser for the baby, and my a new vanity table, a dining table, and I think that's it. Yeah, so we had thought on September 7th, we had scheduled for the IKEA people to come and drop off our furniture. We didn't even make it to that. So we were here giving labor. Our room was gonna have no furniture. By 9 p.m. that night, I kind of hated the nurse I had. Well, she was being nice to us at first, so my sister like felt bad for her because she wouldn't stop bitching that she was tired. So my sister offered to go get her a Starbucks, you know, just to keep her happy, like, you know, like make our nurses happy and stuff. And so we did, and we gave her Starbucks. The bitch disappeared for like more than 4 hours. She disappeared for like freaking 6 hours, I think. And within those 6 hours, when I went to go get her Starbucks, she let me go on a walk because I didn't get to have the normal like labor where I can, like, you know how I don't know if most of you guys were able to get up and walk around, or you can stand up and do certain stretches and do certain like movements to make the contractions less painful. Well, I wasn't having contractions yet, but I did want to get up and walk. Like, I didn't want to keep laying down because that delivery bed is so uncomfortable. I was waiting for this nurse to bring me a pillow, and she never came back with my pillow. So I was already hating her at this point. I was already like, where the fuck is she at, blah blah. Until I called one of the nurses after I went on the walk. One of the nurses came in and told me, oh, you're not going on a walk no more. Like, that your blood pressure's too high, your heart rate's too high. You just going for that little walk made you dilate quick, so we cannot risk you being up and down walking. Your blood pressure is coming up too high, and that's it, you can't walk no more. So I was like, no. So I couldn't even sit up. I would literally bug the fuck out of them to go to the restroom. I was calling them every time I had to go pee. Like, that was my little break from the bed. So I would get up and go to take a pee and whatever. I don't know when it was, but the point is that the doctor at one point came in, and I was all happy and smiles because I was feeling contractions, but I wasn't feeling them to the point yet where I was like crying. They were just kind of like cramps. And so then the doctor comes in, who was gonna deliver him, and says, oh, no, you are too happy, you are too happy right now, I'm here to make you uncomfortable. And I was just like, oh, like, arrogant ass, you know, because to me right away he seemed like a douche, and like he was like a funny douche, but it was just kind of like he was like being straight up like, you're too happy, like this is going too slow, you know, we need to like speed up the process. Well, so then I was just like, what is he talking about? And Lord, did I know what he was talking about. Like, the moment he fucking popped, like ripped my water, popped my water broke my water, there you go. The moment he broke my water, those contractions came in like hell, like boom, never left. And oh my goodness. So as soon as he said, I'm sorry, I don't even think I remember him saying anything no more after he said like, I'm sorry, you're gonna be uncomfortable. Like, after that I was just like, oh my god, I'm in pain. Oh, but I forgot where I was at. I think I was just at the point where I was saying that once he popped once he broke my water, these contractions came in like holy inferno in my pelvic area. Okay, the drug that they offer you, or they, you know, if you would like to try it, if you don't want to do epidural at all, this is a drug that they offer you that goes in through your IV. It is a painkiller. They say that after the second time, or after the third time, you don't feel it anymore. Like, it doesn't do nothing to you. So, or after the second time, you don't feel it no more. So meaning your third time they give it to you, you don't feel it anymore. And I was like, okay, whatever, like oh yeah, so that drug. So I already had done it 2 times. That kept me pretty how do you say, like pretty medicated to where the contractions were bearable. They just felt like really, really bad menstrual cramps, but I was still able to talk, still able to, you know, be awake, still able to smile, laugh, get up, go to the restroom. And the doctor came in again, and when they see that you're in pain too soon and your contractions are strong too soon, they kind of try to offer you the epidural because they want you to have a comfortable, and they don't. My blood pressure was through the roof already, so they were like, whoa, like you being in pain is kind of like making it worse. If my blood pressure would have gone so high to the point where it was like I think it was like 160/90, they would have had to give me another medication that pretty much would have put me like, it pretty much would have been like an epidural, but it would have been like a tranquilizer. Like it would have to have calmed me down, because if not I could have went into a seizure if my blood pressure would have got too high with everything that was going on. Oh my god. Anyways, so I'm gonna film another video about breastfeeding, because Lord, I feel like a professional and all the bullshit that I deal with these, just whatever. Everything seemed like a long day. From Friday at 1:30 to the moment he was born, everything felt like one whole day. But at this point, these things were going on already like the second day. So the first night they put a pill once. They came and checked on me again at 9 p.m. and put another pill again, and then throughout the night they put a third one. And this whole pain thing that I'm telling you guys about, like giving me the drug for the pain and all, that wasn't all until Saturday. So I woke up Saturday morning, had some breakfast, was pretty much just already kind of like nauseous and loopy, because I was already on that drug, and I was already like I already had 8, and I was already like vomiting and stuff like that. So then they gave me another dose of that drug Saturday afternoon, I would say, and then I got a new nurse, and one of the nurses came in and checked on me when that nurse was out, and that one nurse told me, don't get the epidural until you can't handle these contractions no more, because then it's gonna wear off and you don't want to have to feel those contractions when they get to the peak. But after they broke my water, my contractions never went down. Like, you know how the waves go like this? My contractions just stayed high. They just stayed high, and then they would dip a little, and then they would go back high. Like, they weren't doing this anymore. So pretty much I was like, okay, I want the epidural, just give me the epidural, I can't do this, blah blah blah. At that point already, I just wanted the epidural, and then one of the nurses came in and told me, oh honey, don't get the epidural until you're ready. And I was like, oh yeah, that's true. You know, what if I still have a long time to go, and then the epidural wears off? So I said, never mind, I'm fine, I don't need the epidural. And then yeah, the drug wore off. Like, the drug that they had given me had worn off. So I said, can they give me some more? They gave it to me the third time. That nurse was right. The third time, it was already 30 minutes in, and I didn't feel no difference. The contractions were still there. It was like they didn't even give me no drug. Like, I was just like, did they even give it to me? And I was like, I want the epidural, I want the epidural. I expected to literally have this baby. Cocino pa! Cocino. I expected to have this baby with no epidural, because I really honestly thought that the pain wasn't going to be that bad, or I thought that I wasn't going to be in labor for that long, if that makes sense. I was already like 24 hours in. Oh yeah, I was way past 24 hours in with my labor when I asked for the epidural. So then thankfully she was right next door with some girl who was like screaming her lungs out and stuff, like behind me, like this is my room, you know, I'm in the labor bed, and she was behind us, and she was right next door to her. So they told me, if you want to like say it now, because she's right next door. I'm like, yeah I do. So then they came in, and then I was already like so drowsy. Like, all I remember is them asking me like certain questions. They had me sit up, but while the anesthesiologist was poking me for the epidural, she told me she was back there for a long time, and I have to stay like this. The back has to be arched a certain way. You have to hold everything together while you're getting contractions. And yeah, so she's taking forever back there, and we're just kind of like, what's going on? And she goes, oh, I'm so sorry, sweetie. It's your back's not letting me in. Like, my back wall, my back muscle, some bullshit wasn't letting her in, meaning that the needle stopped. So she had to take the needle back out, tell me to do it all over again, and she had to poke me again. So I was poked 2 times by that needle. It only went through my spine once. This epidural, I kid you not, only lasted me like probably like an hour. Because by the time that I got the epidural, it was already like kind of like 8 p.m. And then so it got down to the point where we're already a few hours away from the baby coming. So it was probably like 10 p.m. That's when my family started getting there. Everybody started visiting. It was fine. Like, I didn't mind, because I was still talking. I was still, you know, breathing through every contraction. I was still there. But it got harder for me when the epidural was wearing off. It literally wore off like an hour into the whole epidural. It wore off. The epidural is supposed to make you feel numb, like completely numb, to where you can't feel your legs or anything, but I could still feel my legs. I could still move my legs. I could still move side to side and everything. I just couldn't feel them as much as they were when in that time where I had no pain medication. This is Silas. So at this point, it was already like 10 o'clock at night, I think, or midnight, where they kicked my family out. And then everybody was waiting in the waiting room, and they checked me, and then I told the nurse, she told me, so are you feeling any of your contractions? And I said, yeah, but I'm also feeling pressure. And she was like, pressure? I'm like, yeah. And this pressure wasn't pressure that you imagine that you're gonna feel. It literally felt like you had to take a poop. Like you literally feel like you have to fart and you're embarrassed because if you push, you're gonna fart. And so I was just kind of like, I feel like, I guess that's the pressure they're talking about, you know? So then I told her that I felt that. She checked me and I was already 8 centimeters dilated. I was good to go. And yeah, everything from literally from midnight to the time that he was born, everything like escalated super quick. And they checked me, so then I was ready to push. While I was in labor, the first nurse that I had of this whole process, the first one who admitted me and stuff, she poked me and she gave me an IV right here. And I still have the scar because she kind of did a shitty job. So I don't know if you guys can, oh, how can I show you without dropping my baby? So right here, just right here, like this little doot right here. So that was the dumbest spot to me, and if you ask me, because it was just like an uncomfortable spot. My mom even said like, why the hell did they give you the IV there? That's so uncomfortable. I'm like, I have no idea. She must have sucked at finding veins or whatever, because I'm pretty white and my veins are pretty dark. So hi Bubba. She gave me a sucky IV, and already at the point where I was pushing, and he wasn't crowned or anything yet, but something happened in that meantime where this is where it kind of gets more serious, I guess. I didn't know how serious this was until afterwards, but the IV in my arm broke. It got a kink in it. It stopped giving me Pitocin. My blood pressure was high. So I wasn't allowed to push no more. With this pressure of him having to come out, I wasn't allowed to push anymore until they got a new IV in me with Pitocin coming in. They had to wait for it to kick in, because at this point it was already kinked for a while, so I was already off Pitocin for like 15 minutes. So add 15 minutes to that, and then add another 15 minutes to it, because they couldn't find one effing nurse. I'm not saying nothing, they were short staffed, I understand, but they couldn't find not one nurse who could come and give me an IV. I was so swollen. I was like a freaking ogre. Like I was swollen, and I was so swollen they couldn't find nothing on me to poke me again. And I was already poked up a lot from the times that they were poking me before to give me take blood for me and stuff. So I got poked like 10 times by different nurses because they wanted to try, and none of them could get it. At that point I was already done. Like I was laying there, no epidural. I was just laying there like feeling contractions, but just in the pain, like pressure. And I was just like, I can't, like I was quiet. From what I think, I was quiet compared to the other times, you know, but I was just kind of like done. Like I was just staring into space like, are you fucking kidding me? No. I told them that I had to push and I couldn't no more. Like I was pretty much crying to them and begging to them. The doctor told me no, she can't push. She can't push until she's on Pitocin. The nurse was like, do you want me to get a hemorrhage kit ready? And he said no, or he said yes. I don't know what the heck happened. The point is that there should have been a hemorrhage kit ready, because I was going to be pushing while not having contractions and not a Pitocin. Finally, a nurse came who was the vein whisperer, and she was on her break. Okay, so I had to wait for her to come back from her break. So she came back from her break, gave me the IV, and we were back on the road. Like show was back on. So then I was pushing again, and Caesar was there, my mom was there, and everybody else was waiting in the waiting room at this point. This was already probably like 2 in the morning. The doctor was pretty nice. He was talking me through the pushes, because I did not know how to push. Like that was my biggest fear, was I'm not gonna know how to push a baby out of me. I'm not gonna know how to be able to push a whole baby out of me, because the way it felt. And there I was pushing him, and my pushes sucked, because according to the nurse, she was like, no, not like that, Melissa. You have to do it like this. You have to do it like this. And I was like, I don't know how. So once the doctor got there, he was more helpful, because he was more calm, and he was like, okay, you're gonna push, and you're gonna push towards my fingers. And he said, don't push like you have to take a poop. Push towards my fingers. And then that's when I felt his fingers down there, and it just kind of triggered me to push in that direction. Like, and yeah, so I think it was like 30 minutes after, and I pushed this sucker right out. And he was in the birth canal for a while, so he came out with a big like cone head. And I just couldn't believe that I did it. Like I could not believe that. For a while he was just chilling there, and the doctor, like I was just so worried about him being there for too long. Like I was suffocating for him. Like I was like, he can't breathe, like he's just there, his face is like there. And they were like, we could see, my mom and everybody was excited because they could see his little head, and the doctor, I guess, was playing with his hair at one point because of how like much his head was sticking out. So then yeah, so then he came out, my little papas. he came out and he was super white and I was super scared. I was like, what's wrong with him? And they're like, nothing's wrong with him, like he's awake, like he's fine. And then they yeah, they put him on my chest and everything. So this is where the scary part comes in. After I had him, my placenta came out, and after my placenta came out, I bled out. So I was bleeding out pretty much. Like I was bleeding out, and I got a postpartum hemorrhage, which means that you start bleeding out. My uterus was contracting still, so I started bleeding out really bad. And the only reason I knew something was wrong was because he was on my chest, and you know, we're trying to hurry up, and the doctor's trying to hurry up and stitch me up or whatever he has to do down there. You know, he's trying to clean me up so that I can be able to, you know, have my golden hour with the baby. And so pretty much I wasn't able to have that golden hour because I got so weak to the point where I knew something was up, because I couldn't hold my baby. Like I was too weak in my arms to hold him. So I asked the nurses if they can take him off of me, because I felt like I was gonna drop him, because my arms weren't even holding him at this point. Like my arms were just like flopped on the bed or whatever. And I knew something was up too, because he was elbows deep in there, putting towels in and taking towels out full of blood. And I was just like, what's going on? And then my mom and my sister were all the way in the back of the room just looking at me scared, and I was like, what's going on? And my sister was crying, and I just kept looking at Caesar, and he was with the baby, and I was just like, what's going on? And nobody was telling me what's going on. So I kind of think it's a good thing that I didn't know what was going on, because I probably would have freaked out. But I was really weak and I couldn't breathe, so I asked them to give me oxygen. I wanted water because I was thirsty like as fuck, and I wanted them to give me water, but nobody gave me water because they couldn't. So they just gave me the oxygen mask. And the doctor kept apologizing to me, saying, I'm so sorry, sweetie, I'm so sorry, I can't believe this is happening, I'm so sorry. And he was like, I can't believe this is happening, I can't believe this is happening. I'm just like, what? And he was literally like, my legs were like up in the air at this point. He was just like boom boom boom, like massaging my uterus to like stop the bleeding, and his hands were in and out, like taking all these towels full of blood. And I was just like, oh my god, like what's going on? So then at that point I looked at Caesar and Silas and I said, I love you guys. And then I looked at my mom and my sister and I said, I love you guys, but not because I felt like I was dying, but just because like I felt like I was drifting away into sleep, and I was just like, I don't know what's going on. So then I pretty much, yeah, so that happened. He finally got the bleeding to stop. When I saw him look at Caesar and Silas, and he apologized, like after he looked at them, I was kind of like, what are you doing? Like what's wrong, you know? And I just told him like, why can't you just put a towel in it or something? And he just looked at me like, bitch, this is not funny. So then he called his attending doctor, so he was a resident, and he called his boss, his doctor, and then they shot like some shots on my legs to stop the bleeding and stuff. And there's a lot of nurses that, I don't know how, but a lot of nurses and doctors ended up in there. I didn't get my golden hour. He stopped the bleeding, he cleaned me up and told me, you have one stitch that I have to give you and you're all done. Yeah, that's my birth story. I was okay, like yeah, everything just went back to normal. So like I said, I guess it's a good thing I didn't know what was going on, because everybody was scared around me, but I wasn't. I kind of was just like, I just want to know what's going on, you know. But I do feel bad that I wasn't able to hold my baby the first, like, you know, straight 30 minutes. I should have just found the strength to hold him anyways. And then yeah, that was it. After that, once everything was good to go, they put me into my diapers, and they put him into a diaper, and they weighed him, and he was 6 pounds 14 ounces. He was so tiny, like tiny compared to what I thought he was gonna be. He was like a little baby, and now he's this big old monster. But now he's 3 months, of course. So yeah, that is my birth story. I feel like I'm missing something, but I don't think so. Like after I had him, I just vomited a little bit more because I was so nauseous. So I vomited a little bit more, and they gave me some apple juice. I did skin to skin to him, of course, for a long time. He's getting fussy, guys. So good thing this video is over. It's all ending perfect timing because he's ready for a nap. My camera's at... My camera's at 6%, and the camera's about to like die again from the temperature being too high. So this is all for my video, guys. I will catch you guys on my next one. Bye. Say bye, Godo. Say bye, Godo. Oh, say bye, Godo. Say bye, Godo.